everyone! Today we are going to look at my own phylogenetic tree of modes of transport. I have done this using 8 inanimate objects and 1 outgroup item, with the more closely related items having shorter branches and a cladogenesis that gives rise to no more than 2 species or items at a time, and have color-coded the different groups to make it easier to understand how the groups are related to each other. First, we know that walking was one of the first modes of transportation. Thus, I have listed shoes as an outgroup for modes of transport because it is an OTU that diverged sooner than all the others and shares a common ancestor with all the other OTUs. We are looking at the differences in operational taxonomic units, OTUs, based on the difference of transport instead of species or alleles. In my drawing, I have depicted a rooted tree because the distance between the OTUs or modes of transport is known by comparing it to our outgroup of shoes. Moving down the tree to the light green items, I have drawn that a bicycle and scooter are grouped together because they both transport humans on 2 wheels and are controlled by a handlebar. The next clade is a car diverging from the bike and scooter because it travels on 4 wheels but shares a common ancestor with the bike and scooter. And any point at which you see a staple with a line coming out of it from the left is a common ancestor, like here and here. When comparing 2 items, the most recent common ancestor is the closest staple between the 2. For example, a plane and a hot air balloon share their most recent common ancestor here, but also share another common ancestor here. The next clade is a train that travels on multiple wheels and on tracks rather than a road. The light blue clade has a plane and helicopter, which are closely related to one another, more closely related than a hot air balloon, because they are powered by engines and fly in the air and have windows, but are similar to the previous clades because they carry multiple people in one trip. A hot air balloon also flies in the air, thus it is more closely related to the light blue clade than a bike, but relies on fire and ropes for direction and is in its own clade. The last clade grouping is a boat because it transports in the water, not land or air like the others, and can carry more passengers than a car, scooter, bike, or shoes, and is more similar to a plane, train, helicopter, or hot air balloon. To go over helpful terminology, nodes are staples with the line coming from the left, and there are 2 types. The internal nodes represent common ancestors that existed before the divergence, and terminal nodes are the last nodes to the far right that link 2 items such as a bike and scooter. Each line in the drawing represents a branch, and cladogenesis is the splitting of one lineage into 2, or one line becoming 2, which contributes to biodiversity. Anagenesis is the speciation that represents evolution within a lineage over time, or a single line that does not diverge into 2, which is not in my cladogram because my items diverge and branch off immediately through cladogenesis. Anagenesis may be a species of bird that changed over time, but does not become different species and is only one line that doesn't diverge. Here are my references.